Okay, so now we're going to go into the 7 and 11. And so simply for the 7 and 11, these two players, it's to mark that, it's to again mark the central zone or screen passes internally. So your objective, say for the 11, is to watch the ball carrier, probably the 4 or maybe even the 1, but mostly the times you're going to be concerned when their center back has the ball, right, in a wide area. You want to prevent passes to 10, to 9, right, to screen passes, to be able to and kind of read the body language of the person and see which gap is more open. Obviously, if there's a player in here, you want to try to help cover that area. But your ultimate goal is to read the next pass, and if he does pass out wide, to press in this area. So really, the central areas for everybody is to screen those passes centrally, and then for the 7-11 is to press out wide to the 2 or the 3. So they're 2 in here, or they're 3. That your responsibility now is to force the ball maybe into 7, allow them to pass the ball back, because we're going to have, when this happens, we'll have 10 helping out, but not allow easy passes into 9. So when you go to press this ball, if the ball gets played out here, we're using the sideline as a second defender, force the ball into here, try to screen passes into 9, but put pressure on them so they can't play a long ball or an easy pass. All right. Obviously, the same thing as all my forwards, have a tendency to overplay the situation. Okay, so we don't want to be beaten on a simple dribble so that he can ping a ball in or look to serve it. We want to put enough pressure so that the player plays into 7 and we can go double down on 7. Obviously, if the player plays and goes, you have to track your runner. So if he plays and gets around him, you have to track your runner, allow 3 to do the work of pressing. But more than likely, if he just passes, then you could go down and double. While you're pressing, the number 11 and 7, the 10 can kind of work to inside here, a little bit more inside, but looking to see if he does pass the ball back, you're trying to pick this pass off, right? You make it hard for him to make this pass easy. Obviously, if the defender is good, he might drop in over here. We don't want to get ourselves super stretched out and pressing this guy wide or high. If it's way out of our area, let them play, okay? And then we go and press it, okay? Because in this situation, obviously, if he can play into the 6, that makes it difficult for us to cover. So you want to still mark the central zones, number 10, in this situation, and look to pick off passes to number 4. So if they try to play a switch here, like I said in the last video, if they play a wide area to the central area of the field, we want to try to prevent them from going the other direction. Okay, make it hard for them, win the ball if you can, put pressure on them to force them back into number 11, who now will have basically a 2v2 if we do things right. Players in here are helping out to cover these players. We're shifting over towards the ball to help you. Shifting over. Everyone's covering the nearest players. And we leave the 3 weak side players. Okay, prevent any switches through here. Force the ball backwards and around if you have to, all the way back, right? If they try to play 4, don't let them just simply ping a ball if the player's good. Playing a ball with his left foot all the way across the field. Get in here and force the ball back to the keeper to switch the point of attack, right? Nothing through the middle to go across us, which is what we try to do offensively. Nothing to allow them to go through us to get to these players, because these players will be dangerous if we allow it. But we shift heavily towards this side of the field, making these spaces in here tight. The 7 and 11, right? The weak side player, and the 7 in this case, is going to pinch in. The 11 is going to press the 2, right? Everyone is now shifting and covering in those areas. You can see how difficult it is to get the ball in here. To invite this pass is good because 3 can read it. He can be a little bit off him, but he can start to get closer because as the ball goes into 2, the next pass is possibly in here. Still looking to cover this area, still 3, but pressing. If he does play short, we're really going to go hard and try to win the ball. So if the ball does go into 7 and this player stays, we're really going in here to win this ball off of him. And then once we win it, we look to counter. Okay. So the 7-11, again, screening central passes initially when 10 is pressing 4 or 9 is pressing 5, right? Where our starting position is central first. We had an issue with this during practice where players were trying to guess the next pass and allowing this central pass to come in here, making it difficult for this player to mark. And good teams will do this. If you don't cover the central zones, a good team will pinch in and run, making it difficult for 2 to step in here, for 3 to step in here to win this ball and having to stay. And if you aren't smart, if this player is ball watching and not paying attention, this pass into here is dangerous, all right? Because then he can turn and go at goal. So Again, if our starting positions are good and we're disciplined, excuse me, it makes it easy for us for 3 to predict where the next pass is going to go, right? If the 7 is out in a wide spot, he can read this pass. We can cover these zones. You invite the pass out to number 2, and then we go out and press it, right? In the same way, we invite the pass to 7, and we're going to press here and maybe double down, okay? So those are some of the simple scenarios. Obviously, if things aren't working, we have to retreat and get behind the ball. But those are the basic scenarios for 7 and 11. That your job is obviously to mark and cover these areas first. And really, I just want to harp on that. Check your shoulder, see who's running in, communicate where the 9 and the 10 are. These players in and around here, they could rotate. One guy could jump in here, one guy might pull out, right? The 9 might come into this area to make things confuse us. Sorry, we want to be able to communicate where these players are. Check your shoulder, make sure you have good angles, and while you're pressing. So you're not just pressing blindly and running at him blindly. You're pressing in a kind of a zigzag fashion, but also checking your shoulder to see what he can see, right, and forcing it down line. So those are the basic scenarios that we walk through in practice.